Alright, so what we're going to create today is a basic media player. So we can add files to the media player. So I'm just going to drag one across and we save that file, and then we can click on it and we should be able to hear the song. We could pause it and start it. If we click on another song, we should hear it. Click on it and it starts again. We could also rewind the song from the start. And then we could create a playlist. So let's say we have a playlist here of 3 songs. 3 songs. We save this playlist, and then what we can do now is add these songs to that playlist. So we add 3 songs. We say add it to that playlist, and then we could use that playlist. So we load up our 3 songs. We could also use next to go to the next song in the playlist. So if it was Walking from Stars, and then next is Rainfall Serenade, and then the next one is Puddles of Bar, right? So I'm just going to show you how to build that. So we load up our project, and the first thing we're going to do is create our template, and we're going to name the file player. So player, and then we're just going to copy and paste it across, right? So I name the title media player, and we want a heading called player, or maybe we could call it MP3 player or media player or anything you want to call it. Right, so this might not work because it complains about the bad gateway, so we just need to fix that. So right, apply, okay, so we should be good to go here. Our free music archive is up. Let's close those things. Alright, so this is our media player here. Alright, now what shall we do next? So the first thing we want to focus on is actually uploading the files. So in order to do that, we're going to create a form, and we're going to have an input. This type is going to be file, right? Yes, yes. Type is file because that's what we're going to save it. We're going to give it rename file, and then we just have a button, and this is going to be saved media. The type of this is going to be submit, right? So you can just look to see how that looks. Alright, so let's preview this. So we reload the page, close that. Right, so now we have our file input, and we can press the save media button, and that would attempt to upload the file. Alright, so the next thing we want to focus on is adding some properties. So we want the method to be post, and the enclosed type is going to be multipath form data. Alright, so that's most important. We're going to give the submit button a name just to confirm that we're receiving that. And we're going to create a folder here. So we're going to save it in the uploads folder. So everything we upload, we're going to save it there. So we give it an uploads folder, and now at the top of our file, we're going to start with our PHP content. So what we want to do is get the file that we add when we upload it, right? So we're going to say, hey, server request method equal to post and save media. And if we have save media, so we're going to create up upload directory. It's called uploads, right? That's one. And now we say if we have a file and there are no errors, we can proceed. So we're going to proceed now. So we're going to get the file name. So we're going to get the file name, and then we're going to get the file type. I'm not sure we use any of these, but this is basically what I go through. Alright, and file size. I mean, you can use these. I didn't use all of these attributes, but you could use them if you wanted to make your media player better. Right, and then so the next thing we're going to do is, well, let's just make sure this is working. So let's just echo good and then exit. So let's try to upload our file and see if we can get this to work. So let's do that. So I'm going to drag a file across. Let's drag a file here and save. Good. So that should mean it's working, right? Because that means we get access to the file and it reach it. So we know that it is working. So we can now proceed. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to have a file name, right? We're going to give it a new file name. Called new file name. Let's just give it a name of test, and that's the file name. Path info. We're going to get the extension, right? So the new file name is called test. This is dot to indicate the point between the extension and path info is where we get the extension, right? Before we just get file type and file size if you wanted to use that information. File name is from on top here. Alright, and now we're going to say if file exists, upload directory, new file name, and we're going to throw an error which says this file name already exists. We don't want that to happen, so we're not going to rewrite the file. But if this doesn't happen, then we can call the function move uploaded file, files, file temp name, and we're going to pass in the actual path, which is upload directory, and the new file name. Right, and then we're going to say nope, and jumping down, your file was uploaded successfully. So if this works, we should see a file in here called test. So let's try that now. Reload the page. We're going to drag our file across, and save it. The file was uploaded successfully, and let's see. So this is my test MP3 file. So we're just checking here. We're just making sure that the test is uploaded. We're just going to open this with VLC, and it is working. All right. So we know that the file uploaded works, and it's called test MP3. So the next thing we'd like to do or prefer to do is we want to give the file a random name. That just makes it easy. At least for me, I think it makes it easy. So function get random name, and to do this, I usually have a go-to function that I usually have access to. So I am not going to run through this again, right? So basically, I have some characters, and we have that. I'm just going to copy it across, right? This is my random name function. I use it as many times as possible. Alright, so as many times as I need it. So to get a random name, instead of giving it name test, we're just going to give it a random name, get random name. And that should give us a random file name. So this time, we are going to try to upload our file again. And let's see if we give it if it gets a random name. So save. It has been uploaded successfully. Boom. Now we have a random name. So we could do this as many times as necessary. So we could drag another file across. And we could probably drag the same file across. And we would see that each time it's given a random name. Right? So we just go in here. You see we have a lot of random files. And they would all, the actual title of the song you see, right? But they all have random names now. So we are 10% there. So now that we can actually upload our files, the next thing we want to do is save it to a database. So let's go into our database. I already have my files already uploaded, but we are going to clear this. Let's clear this table. Let's truncate. I'm just going to show you the SQL, right? So assign to, I think it's create loop. So basically, we create a media table with ID, file, and description. So I think file is the random name of the file. Description is the original name, so just that you know what you uploaded, and ID is auto increment. So once you create this table, run this command and create this table, and then we can actually begin inserting files or file references into our database. And to do that, we now need our connection function. So you're going to do it out, get connection to many ends, right? So no, you know this by now, right? So that's our connection function, and we're going to create another function called save media. And what we're going to pass in, what we need is the file name and the description. All right, so we get a connection, and we're going to say SQL insert into media file description, and what we want is values and 2 placeholders. Great. And then we're going to say query connection prepare SQL query execute. See again, bold. I have no try functions anymore. That is ill-advised. Put your put your try functions. It's so nice without it though. We're gonna leave it without it for now. Alright, so once you upload the file, the next thing you want to do is save it, right? So once you call the move uploaded file, we're gonna say save media, and we're gonna get the file name, which is what, the random file name, the new file name, the new file name, and then the description is the original file name. So let us try this. We're gonna delete these files. Delete, oops. Right, so now we're gonna see if we can send things to the database. So we pull our file across and press save media, and it says it was successfully uploaded. Let's confirm that. So now we can see this is the new file name, this is the description, and our file is successfully added. So let's add one more. Let's just add one more. So reinforced serenade. Let's look at that in the reinforced serenade and walking stars. So our files have been successfully uploaded. So that's great. So now we want to see what is actually in the database. So let's create a list. No, we love our list. Let's create a list. Yeah, let's create a list. So below the form, we're going to create a list. And this list is just going to say media 1, media 2. And then we say, do we like what we see? Say, alright, it's not too bad. Not too shabby. So, yeah. So that's our list of media. So we now gonna create a function to actually get it from the database. So we have a save media function. We need a function get media. This function is gonna consist of a connection. Connection, get connection, right? Next, what we doing? We say results is equal to connection query. Select star from media, and then when we return results, that seems to be correct. We put empty results up here, and then we do our try catch that we didn't do before because we're feeling lazy, which is not good. And you see, try catch is a try error. Get message. Right, so that is our get media function. So in our list, we can now do for each get media as media, and we just need one of those. We need to close it, so let's close it there. And for each, right, and now we're just gonna test it out, right? So let's see if this is working without errors. So you have 2 files, and 2 files are showing. If you uploaded more, we should see 3 files, or 4 files, or 5 files, or 6 files, as the case may be. Right, so it's just saying media 1 for now, but what we actually want to see is the description. So we're just going to echo the description, so we know exactly what we uploaded. So when you do that, no, we don't want to resubmit. Great, so now we can see the description of the file that we uploaded. Okay, so now we want to actually play the songs that we uploaded. And in order to do that, we're going to make it into a link. So we copy this, put it here. Let me give it some space. I'm going to say href is equal to JavaScript void. Great. And now we want to know exactly what to play, so we're going to say data details what. I can't remember what I called it before. Alright, data file. So this is the file that we're going to play, and we're going to say the location of this file is uploads, yeah, loads, and I'm just going to echo the name, which is the actual name of the file. What would you see the actual name as? File. Alright, so this would give me this attribute will actually give me the full path of the file. What I could do now is add a script to it. Of course, we don't need jQuery, but it makes things easier. So we're just going to copy that across, and we get ready to add everything that is jQuery. Is it ready? Yeah. Right. So what are we doing? Are we saying on click? We should say on click files. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so we're gonna give it a class, right? And we're gonna call this class play file. Could be play media, right? Play media. I'm gonna say on click on class on play media on click function. Ooh. I'm gonna return it to false, and we want this element, so we say this like that. And what we want is to get the file name, right? So the file name is the attribute data.file, and that should be it. The next thing we need to do is actually play it. So we need to create our audio object. So let's say file audio is equal to new audio, and we pass in the file name, and we just say audio play, and that should work really. Let's see. Will we succeed? Right. So now we have no pause or anything, so they just play randomly, but once you click on them, you can hear that they start to play. They won't stop. Right? So that's part of our media player there. So what you want to do now is add some control functions for, let's say, pause. Main thing is pause, and also what happens when you click on it. So we can do that in JavaScript. So it seems I might actually have a lag with the audio, so just to note that, but it shouldn't affect the actual coding that we're going to do. So I'm going to add a button. I'm going to give this button a name called pause. Alright, and this is going to allow me to pause the files while I'm playing them. I mean, that lag, I don't know what's going on. Right, so let's see. So what we're actually going to do first is you're going to create a global audio object. Instead of, and we're going to assign every file I'm playing to that audio object, like that, for now. And then we're going to say play button, play pause button on click. Right, return false, and then we're going to say audio pause. Of course, we have to check to make sure that audio exists. So we say if audio, right? Then we could pause it. Let's just confirm that's how we did it. Great. So yeah, we could do just like that. Let's see if it actually works. We're gonna reload. We want some space in between those two things, so let's just add that for aesthetics purposes. Definitely not my strong suit. Alright. We pause for the lag. Alright, so it seems to be working. I'm going to try it one more time. So we can actually pause the audio while it's playing, and then we could just start another song. Maybe it will resolve itself when we complete. So what are we going to do next? Alright, so here's what we're going to do. When we click on a song twice, it should start from it should continue from the start, so it should start over. And if you were to click on another song, the song that was currently playing should stop, and then we should play the next song. So that is the kind of logic we're going to go for. So let's see if we could build that in now. So we're going to do that with JavaScript. And what we have to do is we actually have to keep track of what's playing. So instead of just keeping track of the audio, we want to actually keep track of the current file now. Alright, so we have to keep track of the current file. So how are we doing that? We need to get the current file. So it could be something as simple as var current file. Oh no, just current file is equal to file name. It's not going to be that easy. So let's put this down below here. So the first thing you say is if audio exists, right? So this means if there's already audio, what we need to do is we need to pause it. So audio pause, right? That's the first thing we need to consider. And else we could continue as normal. Alright, so if audio and the current file is equal to media file, is it file name or file name, sorry. If the current file is equal to the file name we're currently playing, what we do is we set the current time to 0. And then we play it. Alright? If this is not the case, and if audio exists, we say audio pause. So that means we're not playing the same file, but the audio does exist. So we pause the current audio as long as it exists, and then we're going to create a new audio file and give it file name. And we want to give the current file this file name, and we're going to play this audio.play. And we return this whole thing as false. So that means we should be taking out this, and I'm going to test it and make sure it works. Alright, so let me see if I can get it to work exactly. So if you notice there whether the audio is lagged or not, we clicked on it and it started over from the stop. Now the next scenario you're going to test is when we click on one song and then we click on another song, and we have to make sure the first song stops playing and the second song starts. Alright, so the first song stopped playing and the second song started, and also the pause still works. So we are actually good to go in that case. We actually have a kind of good control of the starting and stopping, and we could pause any sound. So now we're going to work on our playlist. Actually, let's add one more button, which is really easy to do. We're just going to add the from start button. So this button, if we name it from start, I don't know, from start. So this button just takes us back to the start. So it's really, really simple to do from start because we already did it, right? So all we need to do is check to make sure media exists. Not media, but audio. If audio exists, right? If it exists, we take it to the start. And I guess we play it again. Yeah, we play it again. Alright. So that's all we're doing. So that's our from start. I'm just going to test this to make sure it works. So it works, and depending on the lag, what you're listening for is we're going to start playing a song, and then we're going to press the from start button, and it should start from the beginning. Great. So we can now do our playlist. So what we need for our playlist is a few things going on here. One, we're going to be submitting multiple forms, but that's not going to be a big deal. So we're going to add a playlist section here. So underneath MP3 player, we're going to add create playlist. We're going to add a new form. The method is going to be post as well. And our input is going to be really simple. Type is going to be text. The name is going to be playlist. And the button is going to be save playlist. And we're going to give it a type, submit, and give it a name. Is equal to save playlist. And at the top in our PHP section, we are going to do something similar. So we're going to say if server is post. Frankly, we should only do one of these, right? And then within it, we can actually do all our post stuff. But proceed as we did before. I think it's save playlist, add to playlist. That's what I have in here. What did I put here? Save playlist. No, that is the correct thing. Alright, so this is the form that we'd be submitting. And the only thing we would need it to get is the actual name of the playlist that we would be creating. Right, so that is named playlist. And we just need to make sure right, so if playlist exists, we're gonna add it to our database, and the database we're gonna add it to is what? Media playlist. So media playlist is basically an ID and a name, right? So that's it. So let me just get the query center, create. So you can copy this, remove the auto increment. It should be good to go. Create table, media playlist ID, name, varchar 45, very basic. And now we need to add a function called save playlist. And the only thing we need to take is a name. And then we could run this query. Insert into name of table, media playlist, and what's name. So that should do it. So within our post request, we're going to call that function and pass in playlist, and that should actually save our playlist. I guess we could echo a response, echo playlist added successfully, right? So we did not test, but it looks good. It looks all right. So the only thing we need to do now is see if it's working. Let's clear our database. I thought I cleared this. I must not be remembering right. I cleared something else. That'd be awful. Alright, so the first playlist is going to be named. Let's name it workout. That's what I had before. Right? And I get no response. So I must be doing something wrong. So we need to see what's going on here. Method is post, name playlist, the name is save playlist. So everything seems to be fine. Let's make sure this is good. If server is equal to post, alright, playlist, save playlist. Let's check that function. Yeah, so everything looks good. So I'm not sure what the error is. So I'm going to look into that further. Alright, so I'm just going to see if I'm getting the playlist at all. So Welcome to that task. I don't seem to be getting it at all. So that means it was being submitted. Something to that effect. As you can see, our brackets are off. That's a horrible error. And what made our brackets off? Because we didn't indent. That confused everything. Great. So now we're gonna save it as workout. Yeah, but it shouldn't save because we still have our little exit going on there. Alright, so we good to go now. We can work out playlist. We save it. Playlist added successfully, and once you check our database, you can see it's added. So that is great. So we want to see our playlist now. Now that we can add playlists, we want to be able to see them. So we're going to say, well, we're going to say select playlists, or H3, select a playlist. I'm just going to list a bunch of playlists that we can select. But here's what. Oh no. Well, yeah. Alright. So in theory, we're gonna have to choose. Well, for now, we're just gonna list them, right? So what we need is a get playlist function. So we have get media. We need a get playlist function. So function get playlist. Get playlist with an S. And we're gonna do this. All we have to do is change the query because media playlist. Now, what I was debating is because I'm really not going to be listing them, right? In truth, what we're going to be doing is we're going to have to choose. We're going to name this P row, right? Because we might have used that variable above, and I don't want to conflict with it. Even though it's unlikely, just in case. And for each. So I'm not going to be listing any playlists, so this is actually kind of pointless. What I'm actually going to do is we're going to have to select from a playlist. So even though we could select a playlist here, what we actually want is select, like a select element, so we could choose a playlist to work from. So let's do that one time. Let's add another playlist. That's one song. Right, so we can see that we could add as many playlists as we want. I'm just going to format it the way it should be. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a form, and this form is going to have a select element in it. And that select element is going to be named playlist. And now we're going to select a playlist. And this is going to be our option. I forgot about group. Alright. So the value is going to be the ID of the playlist. So we have an ID here. And the name is going to be the name, so that's fine. And finally, we want a basic option that says select a playlist. And selected and value. Alright, so we're going to remove these. I'm going to keep it at, and let's see how it looks, right? So I don't want a header anymore. I'm just going to put this as a paragraph. See how that looks, and let's see if we can put it within the form. make it look better. Select a playlist. It should be bold, right? Or maybe we take this out entirely. Yeah, let's see how that looks. That's kind of fine. And then we just need to add some spacing above or below, just one. Right? So now we need a button as well. So we're not going to use this as yet, right? This is in the short future, the upcoming future. Right? So now we can actually select a playlist and say use this playlist if you wanted to. It's actually going to be a get method, and what we basically going to do is we're gonna make the thing that actually selects all the songs. That's going to differ depending on whether we have a playlist or not. One of the things I need to add is the all songs option. So this will allow us to see all the songs. Even though we actually selected a playlist, there's a playlist called all songs. Alright. So we could say all songs, or we could choose an individual playlist, as the case may be. Great. So in order to keep track of our playlist, we need to create another table called, who knows what it's called? Nobody knows. Playlist files. And I'm making noise in my head. I'm gonna truncate this table. So basically, and it has no primary key, it's just media and playlist, right? Media and playlist. So if you wanted to create it, send create table. Create table, media, playlist files, media, and playlist. Those are two ends. Media is the primary key of the media, and playlist is the name of the primary key of the playlist. And that is what we're going to do. So I'm just going to show you how we can. So although we could use a playlist now, in theory, we have no way to add files to the playlist. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to add files to a playlist. Alright, so the way I came up to do this, right, is we are going to add a input of type checkbox. Again, there probably are other ways to do this, but this is how we're going to do it. So we give our list of files a checkbox, right? So when we choose all songs, we can now add songs to the playlist using this checkbox, which means that we need a form. So we're going to create a form, and then within every input we have that checkbox, and the name of the checkbox is going to be called media. That makes no sense. So we're going to call this, alright, well, we could call it media, but it should be playlist item or something like that. Anyway, so great. This is going to be post. This form is going to be post. And what we're going to do is once you select this and we submit the form, that form the values. Alright, I'm just doing this here. 1 second. Add to playlist. So basically, depending on the playlist we choose, right? So let's just reload this, right? So add to playlist. We need some space. So stay with me. Oh, that's not doing anything. Alright, so add to playlist. we select this and we say add to playlist, and that would be added to playlist. What we actually need now is another we need to get all the playlists again. So we need another select. But this kind of select is what we're gonna be add to playlist. And then we don't need all options, all songs. And yeah, let's see how that looks. Right? So once we select a playlist and then we choose the songs we want to add it to, when we say add to playlist, they should be added to the playlist. So let's see if we can get that to work. Alright, so what we need is a function. That function is going to be called save to playlist. Function save to playlist. We're going to take any media ID and the playlist ID. Alright, so we got our connection. And we're just going to insert SQL is equal to insert into media playlist files. I'm going to call one media and the other is going to be called playlist, and then the values are two placeholders to query con prepare SQL query execute, and we're going to say media and then playlist ID. Alright, so that's how we're going to actually add the facility playlist. And now we need to detect where we actually when we get in that. So we need our form. Our form is identified specifically, so it will actually be add to playlist, and we need to get one the media that is to be added. So yeah, I guess media makes sense. Does it? Does it really? Yeah, it makes sense. Otherwise, it's an empty array, and then the playlist that we're gonna add it to. Add playlist. So I have to confirm I'm actually sending these things, but we will do that shortly. Add playlist. Otherwise, it's null. And if we have a playlist to add it to, then we can say if the count, this is an array, right? If it's greater than 0. If you notice, pass media as an array. If you can't remember, I'll show you shortly. That's MID save to playlist. So MID and playlist ID. Alright, so let's make sure we're doing that. So this is media as an array. So everything that checked will be sent as an array. And then alright, and we need to make sure we actually send any playlist, add to playlist. So add to playlist is where we send any playlist, and media is where we send any media. We have to make sure our button is doing it right and add to playlist. So all in all, it looks like we are correct. So let's just test this and see. So to add something to a playlist, we first would select 2 or 3 or 4, or let's just select 1, and then we choose a playlist called one song and we add it. Now in the database we can see nothing, which means it's not working. So let's look again to see where we might have an error, because, well, so let's make sure we send in a post. Add to playlist, that is correct. Value is correct. Alright, so we don't Is this correct? Not sure. I feel the input should have a value. I'm pretty sure that is correct. Just confirming. Yeah, so we don't have a value here, so that's wrong. So let's make sure we put in an ID here. Media. Great. So we're gonna reload it again and see if we can try it again. Whoa. Something went wrong there. We kind of closed everything off. Alright. What the hell? 1 second. Yeah. Okay. Not too sure what happened there. One song. Add to playlist. We go in the database. And we see it's still not working. Right, so we did some inspection and we could see that the form ends off here. Well, no, I'm wrong about that because I thought that was the problem. The form covers the right area. So we're still not sure what is wrong. I mean, there are better ways to troubleshoot things, but the basic way I do it is just to look and see. Because there tend to be things like minor spelling errors that creates the problem. In this case, we named this wrong. So now, once we select our one song playlist and click add to playlist, it should work. The only thing we need to do now is control when we're using a playlist. We want it to show. Wait a second. I want it to show one song, the one song playlist. Alright, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna change how we get media. So in get media, right now, here's what we're gonna check to see if we have a playlist active, because that form submits via get. The method I think is get, right? So get playlist, if not all, right? So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna say if PL, if we have PL and PL not equal to all, right? Otherwise we're gonna do what we usually do. So if we have PL and PL is not equal to all, we have to do something special. Otherwise we just want all the media. Alright, so in the case where PL is not equal to all, but we have it, we have to say select star media. Select star from media where ID in select media from media playlist files where playlist is equal to, again you should do this because this opens you up to SQL injection. So how about we don't do it, so you don't learn the wrong thing to do. Alright, so playlist is equal to this, right? And because I can't remember this by heart, I believe I have to name this query, I think. I have to name it query, but I generally can't remember how to do this. Something like query execute, and we pass in PL, and then we say results. No, I don't do this by heart, so that's the problem. But that seems to be it. So let's see. What results is before? Yeah. So in this case, fantastic. So what that error said is I'm doing strippiness. So let me find out the right way to do it, and then we'll be good to go. I didn't find out the right way to do it, but bear with me. Right, so before we do something like prepare, right, and then we do execute on the same query. So that actually should be all we need. Fantastic. So if you wanted all songs, and if you just wanted one song, if you wanted 2 songs, you have nothing in that playlist. All songs, and let's say we wanted to add all the songs, or the last 3 songs, to the workout playlist. So those songs were added to the playlist, and now we can use the workout playlist. Or we could use all the songs. Hey, use this playlist. Great. And as always, we can play a song. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. And we could pause it. So the only thing we need to do now is work on the next. It's just kind of okay, but we'll get to it. So let's add the next button. So we have some actions. So we're going to add one more button called next. And what next is going to do is, well, it's a big surprise. No one knows what next is going to do. Okay, so next is just going to take you to the next song in the playlist, and it's not going to be very special. So in order to do this, what we actually need first is we need to get a list of all the songs. So we're going to call it playlist, and basically that's a list of all the songs. And how are we going to do that? We're going to create a function called getPlayQ. So again, you can name this function anything you want. I called it getPlayQ, QUE, and what this does, right? This gets us the current queue, and current files that are playing from whatever playlist we are in. So for each, you have to make this in a way that JavaScript would be happy with it. So in order to do that, the play queue just includes the file names, right? And then we have to do JSON encode, right? So that way JavaScript would be happy to receive it. And then basically we could literally call this function within here, and we would have a list of all the files that's currently being played. So we can confirm that if you look in the script. This is wrong. Maybe I'm doing strippiness. Right, so that was the mistake. How are we looking now? Alright, so that's the list of all the files that are currently being played. So now we can do that. So once we press the next button, we go to the next song. And the only way to know that, kind of have to know what's being played, right? So we need a way to know what exactly is being played. So even now I'm thinking of a better way to do it, but I'm going to do it the way I did it. So what we want is we want to know we want to know what is being currently played, right? So for do that, we create a count variable, and basically we just increment this count variable. So that's the first step. And then we want access to this. So within our element, we say data count, right? So we're just keeping track of it. It's just so we know everything, that we know the order everything is being displayed. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, it would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the same way the array is formatted, because it's just an array, right? So in order to get the count, we can do var count or current count, or var current count is equal to 0, and then we could say count is equal to el attribute data count. All right. So what we want to do next is we wanna increment the count. Do we? Yeah. So we're gonna say current count is equal to pass int count. So yeah, let's do that. Again, this is just how I did it. You might think of a better way to do it. Even I'm thinking of a better way to do it now. It seems kind of not nice. Anyway, so this would this, one second. So once you click on it, you would get the current count, right? So we know what file being clicked on, and the count would change. So if 0, 1, 2, 3, the count would be 3. If you want, we can echo it to the count. Alright, so just follow this. 0, 1, 2, 3. So we know our current count is working, and since we know the current count, we can know what's coming next. Alright, so if current count is less than the play queue, is that what I call it? I call it playlist. If current count is less than the playlist length, and if we have audio, we want it to be paused. Right, so we are going to the next current count plus 1. And then we're going to say audio is equal to new audio playlist and index. So index is, well, I don't have to tell you that. And play. Right? So if you don't understand, so we pause the audio and now we're incrementing the count so that we go into the next item in the playlist and then we go and play. So that should allow us to do next. So in this example, if I started to play the first song and I press next, it should go to the second song, and I press next again, it is not going to the second song. So we're gonna have to check on that. So that's not correct. What are we missing out? Right, so once we get it to play, we need to increment the count, because then that will allow us to go to the next song and the next song. So let's just test that and see. So we go to the first count, the first list or the first song, and press next. And that goes to the next song. Press next again, and that goes to the next song. And then the next song is this one, right? Which is the same as this one. And then we could pause it. Alright, so we officially have a little media player. we can add more songs to it if we wanted to, and have fun with it. Let's see, let's add one more song. Save it. Great. You can play that song. And if you wanted to add a new playlist or some songs, we save that playlist. Then we want to add all our songs to that playlist. Maybe just the one we just added, or 3. And we add it to that playlist, and then we say we're using that playlist, and even the queue would change, right? So we go next. We have Moonlight Reprise. I noticed an error there, but we'll push forward. So you now have a little media player. Very simple, and then very one small file, one line of code. Things you could do better. So you could actually maybe add features to remove files from the media player, from the list. You'll also need to remove it from the database and in the uploads folder. Obviously you could format this differently, add different stylings and stuff like that. Okay, not my strong suit. You also need something to remove playlists or maybe rename playlists. Anything to that effect. You can add forward and next buttons. Instead of just next, you can add forward. You'd also need to detect when a song is finished playing. That's possible. So if you wanted to play an entire playlist, you need to detect when the song is finished playing and then go to the next song. You'd also have to make sure the queue isn't finished. Then you can add repeats and stuff like that. So a lot of cool features. So a lot of it will be done using JavaScript, but the actual that's basically when you actually manipulate any song. But the framework you would do with PHP. So it kind of works good together there. Alright, so that's it for now.